Hello and welcome to Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast. I am your host, Gary Howard. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully my cat will let me record. As soon as I push the record button, he started walking over here. Yes, since the last time I started doing this, I've acquired two cats. I have Winston and Andre. They're both orange cat. Well, Andre's all orange. Winston's more of like a white and orange cat. And they are very needy kitties. So hopefully they'll let me record since it's been a while since I recorded. Unlike my last company, I had a reset every day, every week. I had to take a day off every week because of my hours, and I'm not going to get into that. And I had time to record. My schedule has been all crazy, so I have not been able to really do what I want to do. So, anyhow, thank you for joining me. And today we're going to be in Reno. Now I've had this story ready for a while. And first truck stop we're talking about is the TA travel. It's in Spaks. The case that I'm going to do is out of Reno, but the truck stop's in Spaks. I couldn't find a truck stop in Reno, but I've been to this place a few times. It is a very, very busy place. It has a casino, of course, there, which I won $500 at one time, which I was super excited a very long time ago. But yes, it's right on I-80, exit 19. And before I go on, I've been thinking about getting rid of the truck stop portion, but my wife tells me not to because that's what makes this podcast. If you have any idea, if you're listening to this and you want me to just go straight to the case, let me know. Or if you enjoy hearing these drama queen truck drivers, then let me know, please. But yeah, it's on I-80, exit 19. Right now, I'm 1,742 miles away from it in Laredo, Texas. As of a minute ago, it is 10:29 my time. So I guess it'll be. I think Reno's in Mountain Time, so it's like 9:30 there. It's many spots, which I find hard to believe. I have never went there where that place is just overflowing with parking spots. But I'm looking at the Google Earth picture of it, and it shows a lot of spots. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but or I'm going there at the wrong time. But it's usually pretty packed. But 1 minute ago, as of 9:30 Mountain Time, is many spots left. So if you want to know the address of it, it's 200 North McCarran Boulevard, Spaks, Nevada. Like I said, it's in Spaks. The murder happened in Reno, but there's no truck stops in Reno. So it says it has 200 parking spots there. Where am I at? The 200 parking spots. It has everything the truck stops have: paid lot, overnight parking, showers, Wi-Fi, and all that stuff. Now it is not the best of truck stops for sure. And when I get the reviews, they'll tell you potholes. Now, there's only one way in and one way out. So you come in as soon as you exit, you come in and turn right, and right there by the fuel pumps is why you have to go to the back of right by the maintenance shop, and there's an exit that brings you on the residential street where you have to turn left. And that's the only in or out. If you're trying to turn out through by the fuel pumps, you will be screwed. I don't think you could actually turn left there. You'll be there for a very long time. So just if you're a truck driver, you listen to this and you find yourself at the TA Spaks, just go ahead and make sure you exit the right way. And I do think this is a place. Now, I don't know if it's going to be in the reviews. I didn't see it, but it's kind of cool because they have the casino, but they also have walls of all kinds of old Western weapons, guns, shotguns, and whatnot like that. I liked it, but then again, I don't like TA and Petros. But yeah, and also they have paid spots for. This says $18 a night. On all this information I'm bringing up comes from Trucker's Path. So if you're a trucker, you want to know where to go and where truck stops in, up to date. If the drivers are correctly reporting on the parking spots, you can do that. But yeah, $18 a place. Usually it's like $20. It's open 24 hours a day. I already give you the address. And here's the first. There's questions on here. Questions and answers. Is this paid parking? No. But there is some paid parking there. There's three answers to this. Let's see what other people are saying. Nope, no, they're paid and non-paid. A lot of spots. Many places for free. But I guarantee you the free spots are always taken up. Either by local drivers or they're just always packed. I think the last time I parked there, I ended up paying. But anyhow, so if you're traveling through Reno and you think you want to get rich at some of these casinos, or you just visiting there and you come across this TA and you want to have something to eat. Well, they have what's here? Of course, you have the truck stop food that they supply TA Spaks. Of course, they're regular food. You have a Fuddruckers there. So if you get a burger, Cafe Bellini, the steakhouse. I gotta turn that down. I forgot. There's a steakhouse there. Then on Trucker's Path they have it on feet, and you have Pancho Willie's Cantina, and that's all within 500 feet. Now, if you go to Wiener Schnitzel, that's 932 feet, so about 1,000 feet away. So if you're in a truck, you might not be able to go there, but if you're in a car, then there you go. And then there's Applebee Grill, but yeah. So you park there, you got yourself to eat. Let's see, why would you stop there? Let's see what other people are saying. Now, on the reviews, for some reason, the top view is the highlight. Usually it's 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever. I'm not for sure who decides to highlight it, if the store goes on here or more likes. But the first review was anonymous user. Shower was clean, good water pressure, temperature, and ventilation. I fortunately didn't get time limited like the other reviewer. I'll get to that. I definitely took long than 45 minutes. Not sure if that means they enforce it at certain times of the day or what. First of all, why the hell is this dude in there for 45 minutes taking a shower? Is he masturbating? Is he just so big that he has to? I mean, what is he doing? 45-minute shower. Okay. Discovery Mind says, worst service, extremely slow shop. A lot of people are not liking the shop. They say it's not a good place to go. But that's a lot of TA. When you get, I mean, I'm not saying, yeah, I mean, I guess when it comes to drivers, they think they're their priority over everybody. A lot of these shops, they get really busy, especially a place like Spaks or any place in Chicago, major cities. These shops get backed up. So, yeah, a lot of drivers think they should just get in right out. Okay, good place. Oh, also, it depends on your company, too. I work with some companies, they take forever to okay approval for repairs. Okay, good place with big truck parking. Okay, that's a 5-star review. Here's the shower review. Anonymous user, 1 star. Really rude woman who works here yelled at me for being in the shower too long. I paid for the shower. Air conditioner was ice cold. I want to know more about this. Did this woman just open the door and start screaming at him while he's butt ass naked in the shower and said, "Get the fuck out. You've been here too long"? Or did she bang on the door and start yelling at him? Also, how does I guess you see who? Okay, here, let's talk about Fuddruckers. Fuddruckers is trash. They didn't care about serving customers. Anonymous user, of course. I walked in behind a guy finishing his order, and the cashier Amanda walked off as she saw me walk up to the counter after waiting. Then she proceeded to wipe tables for 15 minutes for guys who were not ready. Okay, yep, she did not want us to review. Oh, maybe you needed to take a shower because maybe she smelt that funk coming up. Which I'm gonna bring a side story. When I was in Rochelle, Illinois, I was at the Road Ranger there, and I was I wait for a delivery. I'm waiting for a load to pick up. And this one guy went in there and paid at the cashier. And as soon as he walked away, man, this dude's face is sour and it starts spraying. And he said, man, that dude smells so much ass. And then he just kept wanting to talk to me. I was like, I was trying to be courteous because, he's the customer. But, man, he was foul. Okay, now, here you go. This guy right here. The other guy said there's a lot of parking. This guy, El Gapo, says this is a small place, not much parking, needing an upgrade. Okay. But I would say it's a pretty big truck stop. Like I said, it's 200 spots. There's tight roads, so it's definitely hard to park in some of these places. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can, but for rookies, it could be kind of intimidating. Here you go. Don't use the shop by anonymous user location. Went in for a tire trailer, was told they can get in within an hour. Then it was finally done. It ended up being 4 hours later. They lied about the wait time so they can get to work. Took 2 hours for them to get in the shop. Took 2 hours to get in, and another 2 hours before it was all done. If they had been honest about the wait time, I would have gone somewhere else. There's no sense or urgency and no respect for customers' time. I will not come back to this shop. Well, it sounds like to me, and now I'm just assuming that maybe they did have it done, but your company was taking forever to return because they're not going to just let you go before they get payment. Maybe it was your company taking time. And here's Double X. He said, really tight parking lot with potholes everywhere. The good part there is a Planet Fitness a short distance away, about a 10-mile walk. And I laughed when I first read this because truck drivers are some of the laziest people on the planet. When they have to park at the fuel island because they don't want to walk that extra. I'm not saying everybody. If you're a truck driver, you hear this, you tell me go fuck myself because you're not lazy. Then I'm obviously not talking about you. I'm talking about the truck drivers, and I've seen it. Park at the fuel island because they don't want to park ahead because there's a big area in front of these fuel islands where they can park, go get their things, do what they need to do, and come back. But that's just 75 extra feet to walk. Okay, this guy says 4 p.m. Sunday, 11 spots open. So I bet you it was probably paid parks. And here's the guy, Trucker Path 24 says, watch out, interest sign. It's right at bridge, otherwise you'll be stuck at a roundabout. Or you could listen to my advice and just don't make sure you turn right away. Yeah, because it's like right there. As soon as you make the right off the feeder, you're making a quick right. 2 more reviews. And I love this next, not the next one, but the one after that. Typical TA, trash and piss bottles everywhere. Store is small, casino stinks like cigarettes. Parking lot is extremely tight, which, yeah, of course they allow people to smoke in the casino. That's like that everywhere. If you don't want to smell the smoke at the casino, they have your entryway to the casino, and you have your entryway to the truck stop. Just go there. Okay. Now, I think I knew what this guy was saying, but it's just so funny. Says here you go, no hot water for showers. You walk in and you're hit in the face with steel cigarettes. No ventilation. Staff has no pride in their work. Okay, let's go back to the hitting the face with steel cigarettes. What is that? Somebody coming with a vape pen and smashing you in the face with it? Please, I don't know. But I do know. You get hit in the face with the smell of cigarettes, not hitting the face with steel cigarettes. All right, then. Now that we got the truck stop, we got full bellies of Fuddrucker. Even though the woman didn't want to help us, we smelled like cigarette smokes and someone screaming at us about getting the hell out of the shower. Let's get to the murder. Okay, I got my resources from this next case. I got from where I first got it from his YouTube channel called Dark Curiosities, which led me to, which that's a YouTube channel. You go check it out. They talk about unsolved crimes and murder mysteries and murders and solved crimes and all that stuff like that. Also, Chilling Crimes is a webpage where they have blogs and talk about news and true crime and unsolved stuff like that. So if you want to like me, you would definitely like them. But today's episode, murder brings us to Sonja Yvonne McCaskie. She was born the 19th of February 1939 in Elgin, Murray, Scotland, to Thomas McCaskie and A. Shoemaker and Dorothy Wilcott Abbotsford. Melvin, not long after Sonja was born, her father unexpectedly passed away as a result of Sonja's mother took her to the United States to live. They initially relocated to Long Beach, California before settling in Tahoe City, Nevada. In 1954, when Sonja was 15 years old, Tanya attended the Tahoe Truckee High School, where she started developing a passion for alpine skiing. She joined the school team and spent much of her free time on the local slopes with her family. After leaving school, Sonja attended Sierra College in Auburn, California, before moving to 2640 Yarrow Avenue in Reno, Nevada. Upon hearing the news that the Winter Olympics were coming to California in 1960, Sonja wrote a letter to the Ski Club of Great Britain to ask if she could try out for the Olympics team. And even though she didn't expect to hear anything back, her request paid off upon Team GP's arrival, Great Britain's arrival in the U.S. Let me see, start again. Team Great Britain's arrival in U.S. McCaskie tried out for a spot on the team and was successful. Unfortunately, when participating in the slalom events of the games, McCaskie fell and ended up placing last, but she was still an Olympian. Following an Olympic challenge, McCaskie managed to gain employment as a secretary at a meatpacking company located 3 miles from her home in Spaks, but also became a part-time ski instructor at Slide Mountain Ski School in Reno. Sonja adored being an instructor and was very well liked by those who she taught. When it came to her personal life, Sonja married a man named Jeff Schmidt and had a child, but unfortunately her relationship with her husband didn't last, and the two ended up divorcing. Following the split, Sonja fell pregnant again by another man and gave birth to another child, a son named Kim, and yet Kim, in June of 1962, and raised both of her children alone. In 1963, 24-year-old Sonja was chosen to partake in the European Skiing Championship. At the beginning, I said 70s. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It was the 60s. Following the year 1964, and she was elated by the news, especially after such a disappointing finish at the Olympics in 1960. But unbeknownst to her at the time, she would never make it to that. On the 5th of April 1963, a babysitter became initially concerned about Sonja failed to pick up her 10-month-old son, which was out of ordinary for her. She was always there. The babysitter contacted authorities, voicing her concerns for Sonja's whereabouts, and unbeknownst to the babysitter, Sonja had also failed to show up at work at the meatpacking company Friday morning, which once again was completely out of character of her. She was always at work. Last time Sonja was seen alive was approximately 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 4th of April, when she arrived back home to her apartment after a day of work. Police officers were dispatched to McCaskie residence on Euro Avenue, and what they found was a gruesome scene. Responding to it was police officer Mort Ammerman, who went to Sonja's house on a routine call, just make sure everything was all right. What he said was, "I was just there to deliver a message from the babysitter, but it was far from a routine call." Mort described what he saw when he got there as like being hit between the eyes with an axe. It took Mort several seconds to even begin to comprehend what he saw. Other police at Sonja's house were seen visible shaking and gagging when they opened the door of the duplex. The smell was so strong that they could barely breathe, and they had to try to compose themselves on the lawn and try to catch their breath before they could enter Sonja's house again. It was a pretty bad scene. In Sonja's home, a home that was filled with memories, Sonja's photographs, her pretty dresses, children's toys, and skiing trophies and awards was now a true crime scene. Sonja had been brutally murdered. Sonja's murder shocked the police officers. It was more deprived than they could have imagined. There was an eerie silence as they walked through the duplex. Lying just beside the front door, there was a human heart. By the way, this is going to be really gruesome, so be ready. A blanket was on the floor in the middle of the room. There was a foot inside the blanket. Police officers found a cedar chest. The rest of Sonja's naked body was found inside. There was 3 knives in her torso. She had been decapitated, and her head was wrapped in undergarments and a tablecloth and left in the tablecloth and left under the body in the box. Due to how Sonja's body was dismembered, police believed they were looking for a suspect with butchering or surgical skills. Bloodstained rags and blankets were scattered on the living room floor. Police believe that some sort of attempt had been made to clean up, but the cleanup was abandoned because blood is very hard to clean up. They believe that Sonja was murdered in her bed as the mattress was drenched in blood. Police found a bloody footprint at the murder scene. The cause of death was strangulation. Sonja had been raped and was strangled with a garrote. She was also stabbed multiple times. Initially, police believed that whoever killed Sonja was known to her. There was no forced entry, and none of the neighbors heard any noise and saw any unusual activity. Friends and previous boyfriends were questioned, and they were questioned, and some even took lie detector tests, but all passed. Nothing seemed to be missing from Sonja's home except for a camera lens. She did like taking pictures a lot, so that was the only thing that was missing. I've seen some cases where it's a camera lens and camera, but police found the instruction manual for the camera but could not find the camera lens. The camera lens would give them the break they needed a few days later. The camera lens was found at Reno Pawn Shop, and who pawned it? An 18-year-old boy named Thomas Lee Bean sold at the pawn shop for $10, which I guess in the 60s, that's $10 is quite a bit, so it was a pretty expensive lens. But yeah, Thomas was questioned by police. He was a high school student at the local Worcester High School, and when first questioned, he was cooperative. Thomas was distant, aloof, and a bit a loner. He liked to keep to himself and spent a lot of time alone. He liked to walk the nights alone and through different neighborhoods, and we'll soon find out. When Thomas was brought in for questioning, he managed to run away. The police fired a few warning shots and were able to catch up with him and bring him back to the station. Thomas asked them why didn't they shoot to kill. Thomas told the police that he was willing to talk, and he confessed to Sonja's murder. Just opened up. But yeah, police took him to Sonja's duplex, and he told police what happened that night. According to Thomas, he couldn't sleep that night, the night of 4th of April. He noticed Sonja's car in the driveway. It was a Triumph sports car, and Thomas walked up to the car so that he could take a closer look. As he was looking at the car at the duplex, he noticed Sonja's laundry on her washing line. That was something that was interesting to him. Thomas, for some time, he liked women's clothes. He stole some before the different washing lines to use for his own sexual graphic. So that's what he was doing when he walked through his neighborhoods. He would go around and look for women's clothes on the line and steal them, panties, or bras, and everything. He just what he liked to do. Thomas told police that he went to the back of the duplex with the intention of stealing Sonja's clothes. He admitted that he was open to the possibility of rape. Thomas saw the back door was open. He removed his shoes. He wasn't wearing any socks. Thomas crept in the duplex, walked around the entire duplex to see what was inside. He discovered that only Sonja was inside, and she was asleep in the bedroom. Lucky her kids wasn't there. Thomas did not know Sonja. He never seen her before. Thomas spent a bit of time watching her sleep. He told police he climbed on top of her, taking great care not to wake her. He had a homemade garrote in his hand and twisted around her neck. When Thomas began to rape Sonja, she woke up. He told police that she was pleading for him to stop and told him that she had a baby to look after. Of course, he did not care. He tied the garrote around her neck and stabbed her several times with a knife. It was the garrote that killed Sonja. She was choked to death. Sonja was raped before and after death. Thomas dragged Sonja's body from the bedroom into the living room. He cut her heart out and threw it on the floor beside the front door. Sonja was decapitated, and Thomas tried to skin her. He split her from the couch. He slit her from her crotch to the neck. Thomas stuffed her body in the cedar chest as her foot was hanging from the chest. He cut off the ankle and wrapped it around a blanket. Thomas threw her head into the chest like a basketball, according to this police summary. Despite the depravity of the murder, there was little sign of struggle. So yeah, he just, like a 3-point with her head. As the garrote was tied around Sonja's neck before she woke up, Thomas was in control the entire time. After the brutal murder, Thomas listened to Sonja's records, took her car for a joyride, and police believe he was in the duplex for around 5 hours and left between 5 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. that morning on the 5th of April. Thomas told police, he says, "I don't know why I cut her up. I don't. I just shoved a knife in and started to cut. That's all." Thomas said it was a childhood dream for him to rape a woman. He thought of rape when he was just 6 years old. So when the rest of us are thinking about being basketball players, football players, into sports, police officers, army, this guy's like, when I get older, I think I want to rape a woman. And that's what he thought. Or walk around neighborhoods and steal panties. But it wasn't the first time Thomas had come to police attention. In 1961, He served 8 months in Nevada training center for trying to strangle a 15-year-old girl. She was sleeping on the porch when he walked past and decided to strangle her. She managed to fight him off and escape. I don't know why I guess she was just tired, sleeping on the porch. Thomas was charged with first-degree murder for Sonja. He faced the death penalty. Despite the full confession, Thomas pleaded not guilty on the grounds of his insanity. The defense called psychiatrist David Wilson to testify. His opinion that Thomas was insane under McNaughton test and rebuttal. The prosecution called the two psychiatrists to testify, Mr. Rappaport and Dr. Tully. They believed that Thomas was not insane under that standard and that he killed Sonja. The jury agreed with the prosecution, and Thomas was found guilty of first-degree murder and received the death penalty by the way of the gas chamber. But in 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned all pending death sentences after the case of Furman in Georgia versus Georgia. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional. As a result, Thomas is now serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. He remains there today. He is known for being the longest serving inmate in Nevada. So, but yeah, and Thomas was never given a motive as why he murdered Sonja. I guess because there's something he wanted to do. The opportunity was there. He saw women's clothes hanging, and he just took it. Never knew her, which is one of the hardest things to solve. Is if somebody, they always looked at, well, this case, they looked at everybody she knew first before thinking a stranger did it. But luckily, he decided to steal the camera lens or camera and pawn it, and that's what got him. I believe it's actually back in the 60s. That's actually pretty good police skills because no computers, no nothing. I don't know how they found it. But thank you. I know I babbled through this and rough times, but I'm going to try to get better as time progresses. That's practice. I need to just force myself to do this so I don't sound like a moron. But thank you for listening. If you liked it, please rate and review wherever you're listening to. Go check out my Facebook group, Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast, and join the group. Leave a review about what you think I should do better, what I could add, or just tell me what I'm doing wrong. That even helps better, so I know what to fix. You could email me at truckstopmurder@gmail.com or just gary.howard5@yahoo. I check that a lot. Also, check out my other podcast I do, Missing Miles, which is for unsolved and missing people. And also, I started a TikTok channel because at the beginning I was talking about my cats, TikTok Trucker Cats, where I record their travels through the United States, which they have been quite a few states in September of last year when I started. I bet you they've been through about 75% of the states right now. So, thank you for listening. Also, as I always say, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure numb it with a 2x4. I'm out of here.